One of the big casualties of new TV shows moving to streaming platforms has been filler episodes of TV shows. You don't get those weird filler episodes, the special holiday episodes, the very special sitcom episodes anymore, because now you can drop an entire season all at once and your audience will sit there and binge watch all of it. They don't need the filler because it's all available all at the same time. Unfortunately, that means that all of the weirdness that we got in between the big plot episodes back in the cable TV and over-the-air TV days, it's gone. And, you know, for me, I think a lot of shows did filler episodes very well, where the plot was mostly contained to the one episode. And my favorite of all of them is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's one of those shows that does a great job with big plot development, seasonal plot development, multi-episode arcs. But they do a really good job of the sort of in-between episodes to keep the audience's interest before the next big enemy fight. So today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite filler episodes from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you've never seen it, that's okay. I will be spoiling these specific episodes that I'm going to be talking about, but I'm not here to tell you what happens at the end of season 3 or whatever. It's not about the overall plot. We're here to talk specifically about these filler episodes and what makes them fun TV and why I'm really kind of mourning the loss of this kind of episode. So this first episode is season 1, episode 4, called Teacher's Pet. It originally aired in March of 1997. In season 1 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Buffy and friends are enrolled at the local high school, Sunnydale High, and Buffy has just moved to town just a few episodes previously. She's had a tough time kind of getting adjusted to the Sunnydale rhythm. There's been some trouble with some of the faculty members, especially the Principal Flutie, who is a little bit overbearing. He's doing his best to be a good modern principal, but he's causing problems for Buffy in other ways. So in this episode, Buffy almost immediately develops a little bit of rapport with her biology teacher, Dr. Gregory, and has a nice little exchange that goes something like this.
Cut school, get in fights, burn down the gymnasium. Principal Flutie showed me your permanent record.
Well, that fire, there was major extenuating circumstances. Actually, it's kind of funny.
I can't wait to see what you're going to do here.
Destructo girl. That's me.
But I suspect it's going to be great.
You mean great in a bad way?
You have a first-rate mind and you can think on your feet. Imagine what you could accomplish if you actually did
the homework thing.
The homework thing. I understand you probably have a good excuse for not doing it. Amazingly enough, I don't care. I know you can excel in this class, and so I expect no less. Is that clear?
Yeah. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Be smart. And please don't listen to the principal or anyone else's negative opinion about you. Let's make them eat that permanent record. What do you say?
Okay. Thanks.
It's one of the more wholesome interactions we get in the show, and it's just kind of refreshing to see. But, you know, it's Buffy, it's a horror show, and while season 1 is definitely low budget and it's a little campy, as we progress through here, you're going to see that Dr. Gregory doesn't have a great ending. He will be put out of the way very shortly. And there you have it. That's the end of Dr. Gregory. So you get a nice idea of the flavor of how the show is going to go if you haven't seen it already. Buffy bonds with a male authority figure and he immediately gets killed. Not ideal, but you know, this is exactly how your standard Buffy episode goes. It's a lot of Buffy makes friends, something goes horribly wrong, Buffy has to save the day. In this next scene, we find out that Dr. Gregory is missing. And just as we discover this, in a conversation with Xander and Willow, a couple of Buffy's schoolmates, we see this scene go on. And Xander is kind of an awkward teen, and he does this in front of the new teacher, which is very uncomfortable. And they have this weird little staring moment with Miss French, who will be the new substitute teacher. It's a very uncomfortable moment in which Xander just stares at this woman, and it's kind of creepy. And then this happens.
Help me.
Yes.
I'm looking for Science 109.
Oh, it's, I go there every day. Oh, God, where is it? Hi. Blaine Mall. I'm going there right now. It's not far from the varsity field where I took All City last year.
Oh, thank you, Blaine.
It's funny how the earth never opens up and swallows you when you want it to.
And that gives you a really good sense of who Xander is in season 1. Just an awkward dude who really wants to hit on his science teacher. It's not a great look. Skipping forward a bit, we end up solving the mystery of what happened to Dr. Gregory as Cordelia Chase, who's kind of the school's queen bee, I guess you could call her, finding Dr. Gregory in this refrigerator in the cafeteria. And screaming, and we're going no audio because it's very loud, but she yells, "Oh my God, where's his head? He is decapitated." It's later that night. Buffy has just gotten into a fight with a vampire with a weird claw thing on his arm, and the vampire scurries away because the police show up and start yelling, "Let's go try to find this guy." So then we get this little scene. And we end up with full recoil from the vampire. He scurries off into the night. And Buffy, as you might expect, is a little suspicious of this. Vampires in the Buffyverse, if you are not familiar with the show, don't generally flee at the sight of random women on the street. So, not a good sign. So it's now the next day, and Buffy has been grabbed by Principal Flutie and dragged off to see a crisis counselor because she was in the cafeteria when they found Dr. Gregory's body. This is not particularly important for plot, but Buffy is sitting in the corridor waiting to see the counselor, and Cordelia, our queen bee, is in the counselor's office, and we just get to kind of sit here and watch as Buffy reacts to Cordelia.
I don't know what to say. It was really, 1 minute you're in your normal life, and then who's in the fridge? It really gets to you, a thing like that. It was... Let's just say I haven't been able to eat a thing since yesterday. I think I lost like 7.5 ounces. Way swifter than that so-called diet that Quack put me on. Oh, I'm not saying that we should kill a teacher every day just so I can lose weight. I'm just saying when tragedy strikes, we have to look on the bright side. You know? Like how even used Mercedes still have leather seats.
This scene makes me laugh so hard. Look, Buffy's face is so good in this scene. Sarah Michelle Gellar did such a good job with this part. I cannot believe that Charisma Carpenter, who plays Cordelia, did that with such a straight face. It's such a bizarre take on the death of a faculty member at the school. Man. At any rate, now Buffy is heading back to class, and she's late for biology class. It turns out that Ms. French is giving a pop quiz, and she slips Xander a little inside info.
I think you meant pollination for number 14.
Yeah, not suspicious at all. Miss French is being a little weird. Buffy sees, oh no, there's a pop quiz happening. And then Miss French does this. And again, we're dealing in camp here, right? This is very low-tech effects, but it gets the point across that something is going on with Miss French. She's clearly not human. And we have this moment of horror where we go, oh, the Miss French really is a creature. We now have confirmation. We just aren't quite sure what it is that she is yet. So now we, the audience, know that Miss French is a little dicey. we now get to see Xander interact with Miss French yet again. He goes in to see our science teacher, and they have this little interaction here.
Oh, Xander, I've done something really stupid. I hope you can forgive me.
Oh, forgiveness is my middle name. Well, actually, it's Lavelle, and I'd appreciate it if you guard that secret with your life.
I have a teacher's conference in half an hour, and I left the paint and paper mache at home. I don't suppose you'd like to come to my place tonight to work on it there.
Come to, your place.
7:30?
The little guitar interlude makes me cringe every time I see it. But you can tell our weird Miss French is putting the moves on Xander, and probably for nefarious purposes. Forward a little bit, Buffy has done some research and figured out that Miss French is probably some kind of giant praying mantis, which is an odd conclusion to jump to, but it's Buffy, it makes sense. So now here Buffy is stopping Xander and trying to warn him, hey, like, don't go to Miss French's, she's a giant bug and she's going to try to eat you. Xander doesn't really take it very well and accuses Buffy of being jealous. It's, again, not a great look for teenage Xander here, but he's kind of being a jerk, like many teenage boys often are. So at this point, Xander goes off to go to Miss French's house anyway, and is almost immediately drugged by Miss French. So in the meantime, Buffy, Willow, and Giles, who we're about to meet, played by Anthony Stewart Head, have figured out that Miss French is actually a she-mantis, which is a type of virgin thief. And this little exchange happens in the library.
Well, basically, the she-mantis assumes the form of a beautiful woman and then lures innocent virgins back to her nest.
Virgins? Well, Xander's not, I mean, he's probably gonna die.
Yeah, the curse of being a virginal high school sophomore. What are the odds? So Buffy, Willow, and Giles all get their acts together to try to rescue Xander from Miss French's house. So now I'm skipping ahead quite a bit. There's a whole bunch of scenes of Buffy having Giles record bat sonar so she can defeat Miss French. Xander is cowering in the basement next to Blaine, who is also caged down there because he never showed up back to school after he went to Miss French's house to help her with the project the night before. There's a whole fight scene where Buffy grabs a vampire out of the sewer and then uses the vampire to track down Miss French because, again, that clawed vampire was afraid of Miss French earlier in the episode. And then we start to get into some fun fight scenes and kind of here comes Buffy to the rescue type of material. Buffy sees Miss French and starts screaming, and it turns into this whole big fight. The magic of insecticide.
Get them out of here.
Help me! Help me!
Remember Dr. Gregory? He scarfed his head. Yeah, well, he taught me. You do your homework, you learn stuff. Like what happens to your nervous system when you hear this.
Extremely important to file, not simply alphabetically.
Giles!
It's the wrong side.
Of course, we wouldn't get any tension out of this if there wasn't a mistake with which side of the tape to play. At any rate, the fight continues. Buffy, as she inevitably does, defeats Miss French in combat. Xander inevitably tries to help. Buffy pushes him back. This is kind of how fights go on this show a lot of the time. This one is a little strange because it's hard to see because they're in a basement and it's kind of dark and the weird bug monster, I'm betting, probably didn't look great on camera. Giles to the rescue here. He plays the bat sonar. Miss French's nervous system goes crazy. I'm sparing you the audio of the bat sonar because it really is loud and I don't want to deafen my headphone users here. And you have a nice little silhouette of Buffy defeating the monster. This goes on for a while. There's a whole scene at the end of the episode where it turns out Blaine and Xander didn't know they were being targeted for being virgins, and Blaine gets very upset when this is revealed and says, my dad's a lawyer, I'll sue you. It's just such a strange sequence for such a victorious scene here for Buffy. So now we're at the final scene of the episode here. I've skipped forward again. Buffy is now seeing her new science teacher give instructions on the term paper, and Buffy's kind of spacing out. And we get this nice little conclusion where Buffy sees Dr. Gregory's glasses on the front desk, and this happens. The show literally never returns to this plot line. There's nothing comes of it. There's no more bug creatures that show up. This is the end of this line. So it's just it's one of those strange Buffy filler episodes where they have to come up with an interesting monster that would be compelling, that would happen at Sunnydale High School. It kind of starts this ongoing joke arc thing with Xander's character, where Xander's partners are almost exclusively monsters or demons of some form or another all the way through the whole series. It's also the first time we see a staff member at Sunnydale High die. Other staff members will die. That's as close as I'm going to get to giving you a spoiler on that. But this episode also highlights the awkwardness of Xander, his weird awkwardness with women, the weird casual 90s misogyny. There was a scene I didn't show where Blaine, the other victim of Miss French, talks about all of his sexual conquests. And he and Xander both vehemently deny their virginity in Miss French's basement dungeon, even after they're rescued, which it's just so strange, but it's also very kind of apropos of the time. It's very 1997. I picked this episode because I think it's emblematic of what early Buffy looked like. You've got an interesting plot, you've got an interesting monster, you've got a bunch of teenagers trying to deal with something very strange and otherworldly in the way that they can, with the resources they have available, which is not much. It's mostly Buffy and then Giles's kind of mystical know-how. And it's very much, low budget camp. It's practical effects. It's a weird bug mask on an actress. It is what it is, and it's very much what Buffy season 1 looks like. Our next episode is season 2, episode 11, called Ted. Originally aired in December of 1997, with a fun, famous guest star. This is a... You know what? Let's just run the first clip, and we'll start there.
You guys wait here a second.
No!
Mom! Oh, I'm sorry. I heard...
I broke a wine glass. You're home early.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, this is my daughter, Buffy. Buffy, this is Ted.
And here we are. It's Ted. Ted's played by John Ritter, famous from Three's Company and a whole bunch of other things. If you don't know who John Ritter is, he's been in all kinds of comedy stuff. He's got a lot of comic chops. And we find out here that Joyce is dating Ted Buchanan. He's a salesman, and they've been seeing each other for quite some time. We find this out through a whole scene in which he kind of charms Buffy's friends. Willow and Xander are both into very specific things. Willow into computer stuff. Xander's into anything junk food or delicious to eat. But Buffy has a little bit of trouble being charmed by Ted. So Ted shows up at the high school, tries to get everybody to go mini golfing, clearly trying to charm the pants off of everybody. Buffy is having a hard time with this. She goes to see her boyfriend, Angel, who I have not mentioned yet, but he's such an important character. Here comes the only spoiler in this episode, really. Angel gets a spin-off later down the line. But she goes to see Angel, and they have this conversation about Ted, and Angel gives Buffy a little bit of advice.
So Mom's like, do you think Ted will like this? And this is Ted's favorite show. And Ted's teaching me computers, and Ted said the funniest thing. And I'm like, that's really great, Mom. And then she said I was being sarcastic, which I was, but I'm sorry if I don't want to talk about Ted all the time.
So you're going to talk about something else at some point?
And smart aleck points going to Angel. Ultimately, Angel tells Buffy, you know, you really should give Ted a chance. Your mom deserves to have a partner. And so Buffy decides, yeah, okay, I'll go mini golfing with my mom and Ted and my two friends. So Buffy agrees to go mini golfing with Ted and the gang, and of course it almost immediately goes off the rails. Buffy, who is super strong, hits it entirely too hard and off the course.
No, we won't count it.
We won't?
No, it's just miniature golf.
It is, but the rules are the rules. And what we teach her is what she takes out into the world when we're not there, whether it's at school or an unchaperoned party.
This is such a square take, but it's also so reasonable as somebody who's trying to be a parental figure, I guess. And, you know, Ted barely knows Buffy, so I think in that regard it's totally inappropriate and he's massively overstepping. But this is also right after Ted is sort of ranting at Buffy about her antisocial behavior, her grades being too low, all those sorts of issues that come along with being a Slayer, which, you know, it's not Buffy's fault, but you know, Ted doesn't know any of this yet. Okay, so Buffy has kind of gone along with Ted's insistence on doing things the right way. She goes to play her ball in the rough, except what she actually does is go out and pick her ball up and walk over to the hole and drop it in, which causes this.
Hey, how about that? Got a hole in two.
Beg to differ.
Okay, so find my score or whatever.
I think you're missing the point here, little lady. Right is right, wrong is wrong. Why don't people see that?
It's just a game.
Right, it's just a game, do your own thing. Well, I'm not wired that way. And I'm here to tell you, it is not a game. It does count, and I don't stand for that kind of malarkey in my house.
But I guess it's a good thing I'm not in your house.
Do you want me to slap that smart-ass mouth of yours? Who's up for dessert? I made chocolate chip cookies.
Yikes. Big yikes. Oh man, every time I watch this episode, I forget how intense John Ritter got in this role. I will tell you right now that very shortly after this, Buffy confronts Joyce, her mother, about this, and Joyce does not believe that Ted would say any of those things. Because why would her wonderful new boyfriend do that? So Buffy, after her conversation with her mother, decides to have her friends spy on Ted a little bit. Willow is able to figure out where Ted works, and Buffy invades his workplace. She watches as he makes a sale, and it turns out that Ted is in fact the top salesperson at the company. And then Buffy has a few interactions with the staff around the office.
You're new, aren't you?
Oh.
I'm Neil.
I'm Linda. Belinda. I'm just temping for the day.
Yeah.
Wow. That guy's a salesman. I guess he's the one to beat around here.
Nobody beats the machine. The guy is a genius. Knows everything about computers, never loses a client. If I sound bitter, I am.
Well, nobody likes an overachiever. He's probably got ex-wives and families to support.
He's just got a girlfriend. I'm amazed he let her clutter his desk. Thank God he's taken off for the wedding.
The wedding?
Yeah, he's got it set for 2 months from now. Believe me, I am counting the days. Uh-oh, the Uber boss. Back to the salt mines.
Yeah, the wedding is not good news for Buffy under the circumstances. Not good at all. So Buffy has a confrontational dinner with Ted and Joyce, and she confronts them about getting married. Ted says, I might pop the question someday soon. Buffy is not on board. Joyce gets very upset. Buffy sneaks out through her window to do her nightly patrol, and in doing so, this happens when she gets back to her bedroom.
What are you doing in here?
Your mother told you to go to your room, Buffy. You and I both know she didn't mean climb out a window and go gallivanting about town.
Yeah, another yikes here. This is a terrifying moment in an episode that's already pretty freaky because it's very human and it's gaslighty and it's very upsetting to see somebody in your room like this. Let's skip forward in the scene a little bit here. Ted has read Buffy's diary in which she talks about being a Slayer. Ted has threatened to use that information to put Buffy into a mental institution. And when Buffy defies Ted, this little interaction goes down.
Take your hand off me.
No. I was so hoping you'd do that.
So this fight scene goes on for a bit. I'm probably going to talk over it a little bit here. But the wildness of this scene is just, it's so over the top. They are really showing Buffy wailing on Ted, and then we see Ted falling down the flight of stairs, and presumably he dies. That's what we are seeing in this scene. Buffy is booked by the police. They run an interrogation on her. The cops let her go home, but Buffy is not doing so well. She is racked with guilt the next day, and taking a human life is not an easy thing to console somebody about. It is at this point in the episode that I have to remind you that this is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not Law and Order. This is not the end of the plot. There is a whole half of an episode left. Up to this point, it's been very much Law and Order-y with Buffy trying to figure out what's going on with Ted. Her relationship with Joyce is not going well. But her friends decide to take it upon themselves to do some investigation. And Xander's attitude in the middle of all this suddenly changes. Willow takes note and decides that she's going to check on the cookies Ted's been giving them.
Okay.
What do we know?
Well, apparently the secret ingredient is not love.
What is it then?
I'm not positive, but I think it's dematorin. It's like a tranquilizer, keeps you all mellow and compliant. It also shares a few components with ecstasy.
This is evidence. This is real evidence that Ted was some kind of a crook. Buffy's cleared. Willow, you are the best human ever. I adore you. Well, that's the cookies talking, but you rock.
Well, your search finally hit pay dirt. Got some personal records, marriage certificates, and an address.
Well, let's check it out. Get our Slayer back on her feet before somebody else gets hurt.
So while Buffy's friends are conducting a little investigation, Buffy decides it's time that she break out of her room. And so she gets up to go open the window and get out. She discovers that her window is nailed shut.
Well, it's official. This day can't get any worse.
Beg to differ.
Yeah, double yikes. Ted is not dead. Here he is in Buffy's room. This is very, very bad. I have to tell you, the first time I saw this episode, this moment scared the living bejesus out of me. So Ted is now confronting Buffy in her room, and he goes after her and starts choking her.
That wasn't plain fair, Missy.
And now an aha moment. He's a robot. That's what's happening here. So we have made a critical discovery at this point in the episode.
You're gonna find hell of a day. Makes you feel like you're 18 again. That I don't like being disobeyed.
So Ted decides it's time to go get Joyce and run away with him. So meanwhile, now we have the gang here breaking into Ted's home, which is a weird little bunker.
So far, I've counted 4 marriage certificates.
Need divorce papers?
Not a one.
So either our boy was a Mormon, or...
Whoa, 1957. Ted must have married young, like preschool young.
Nothing interesting back here. Doesn't look like anybody's worked here, let alone lived here.
Something's missing here. This doesn't seem like Ted at all.
Yeah, and this rug, it doesn't go with the rest of the decor.
So we just saw Ted leave Buffy's bedroom, and he's going after Joyce.
An intern found me. It's a miracle, Joyce. A miracle.
Oh, Ted.
I know.
Oh, my God, Buffy. Oh, Ted, I swear. She never meant to hurt you. You have to believe me.
You don't have to worry about Buffy. You don't have to worry about anything. Daddy's here.
Well, that was cryptic. Like, okay, Ted, let's just creep Joyce out as much as possible. Although Joyce clearly wasn't picking up on the signals from that at all. Meanwhile, the gang has located Ted's bunker, which is creepy all on its own. They find their way down into this sort of basement space that Ted's apparently been living in.
Feels like home. If it's the 50s and you're a psycho.
What you got in the closet, Ted? Let's go.
Well, we need evidence.
We got it.
What's in there?
His first 4 wives.
Yeah, this episode is pretty dark. It's like crazy dark. What a discovery. Imagine being a teenager trying to investigate your friend's mom's weird boyfriend and discovering his 4 previous wives in a closet. Good Lord. So Joyce and Ted are reconnecting, and we get this little scene here where Joyce starts to realize something is actually wrong with Ted.
I'm going to make things right. Then you and I... Want a little gravy with that? Can go away where no one will bother us again.
Yeah, because that's not horribly creepy or anything. My goodness.
Ted, I think you might want to rest for a while.
I think you might want to stop telling me what to do. I don't take orders from women. I'm not wired that way.
Yeah, not great. Not a great situation. Yikes, Joyce. You really know how to pick them. Ultimately, Ted knocks Joyce unconscious and then starts to go after Buffy. And Buffy clocks him.
This house is mine.
Buffy, how about a nice game of Parcheesi?
And that's one of the more satisfying endings, I think, for a monster in the entire series. You know, the next day after this, everyone's back at school. Buffy's cleared of all charges, and Willow and Xander and Cordelia all kind of get together and figure out that the original human Ted was kind of a sickly failure of a man, and he built this robot version of himself to be the man that he thought his wife should have been, or should have been able to have. That robot abducted Ted's wife, held her captive in his bunker until she died, then did this again and again and again, and tried to do it a 5th time with Joyce. This episode is wild to me for so many reasons, but it feels almost like a weird twist on like one of those 80s sitcom very special episodes. You know, with Ted tricking everyone in Buffy's inner circle and working to threaten and gaslight Buffy. The reveal that Ted is a robot comes after several pieces of foreshadowing. You know, he says that he's just not wired that way several times in the episode. At one point, you know, the guy at the office mentions that Ted is a machine. Joyce talks about how every home should have one of him after he brags about his cooking. And this is also one of the first episodes wherein the Buffy gang has to deal with a robot that they encounter. Somebody has built a robot that has gone amok in some form or another. It comes up over and over and again throughout the series. So it comes up over and over again throughout the series. So there you go. All right, and the last episode we're going to talk about here today is Season 4, Episode 5, called Beer Bad. This originally aired in November of 1999. We are way forward in the saga of the show. Buffy and Willow are now in college, and Buffy is kind of reeling from the transition from high school to college. She's really having a hard time kind of dealing with that transition socially, especially. She's just been dumped by this guy, Parker, who's another student at the college, who just had a one-night stand with her, basically. This whole season opens with Buffy just sort of struggling for several episodes, and then we get into this episode. Xander is not a student, but he has gotten a job at a pub near campus using a fake ID because he's under 21 to become a bartender. And of course, almost immediately, we get to the pub and Xander is not doing well on his first day as a bartender. He has no idea what he's doing. He's having trouble remembering orders. He's getting everything wrong. Being a bartender is not easy, everybody, in case you've never done it before. But Xander is struggling, he's doing his best, and he's not keeping up. And Buffy shows up, because of course Buffy shows up. And while she's there, she sees the guy, Parker, that she had been hooking up with. She had the one-night stand with him. She goes and sits by the bar, watches Xander a little bit, and when Parker walks by, she gets up to leave. But 4 college boys insist that she sits down and drinks with them.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I seem to be bumping into people today.
Can't imagine anybody minding. You're not thinking of leaving, are you? Because we have a very strict policy against you leaving. At least until you've had a drink.
Yeah, what my friend's just saying is, you shouldn't be sad and alone right now. I mean, you're a very beautiful girl who should be covered with men. And could we be those men? It's on us.
What great lines they use on Buffy here. My God. Perhaps not their best work. There's a whole subplot here involving Willow and her boyfriend. I'm skipping over it because there's a whole big spoiler attached to all of that. It's also kind of weird out of context. It would be very strange for me to mention it in the video. I'm just going to skip over it. But now our scholarly college boys are in the bar with Buffy, and they are drinking.
Chug, 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 chug. The thing that the modern day pundits fail to realize is that all the socioeconomic and psychological problems inherent in modern society can be solved by the judicious application of way too much beer.
Black Frost is the only beer.
Yeah, real geniuses going on over here. At any rate, the next morning, Buffy and Willow have a whole conversation. Buffy's a little out of it, presumably from the alcohol from the night before, and then they go to their psychology class, where Buffy behaves rather strangely.
We'll be moving on to personality types and disorders. For those of you who have done the reading, you already know. Yes?
She read the reading.
Well then, she'll have some time on her hands. As I was saying, we won't be able to cover it all in class, but that doesn't mean it isn't worth knowing, and it doesn't mean it won't be on the midterm. Now, if I've been unclear in any way, speak now.
Buffy!
Good. Now, before you go, make sure you pick up a pink worksheet from the TAs. Based on that, choose 3 essay topics and hand them to me at the start of the class on Monday.
Yeah, not a great sign that Buffy is acting like an absolute maniac in psychology class. This is the very next thing we see. A series of, weird vials and tubes and Bunsen burners and, science chemical gear, creating some kind of weird substance. And, it's a Rube Goldberg chemistry machine. And somebody is turning on the valve. Here comes the weird fluid. And where is it dribbling? Directly into a keg of Black Frost beer. And you may have heard in the clip from the bar scene where they talk about drinking too much beer, somebody yelling that Black Frost is the only beer. Well, here you go. Not a great situation to be in when you're drinking this particular beer in this particular town. Okay, it's now the next night. Buffy is back at the bar, and they are getting real stupid with it.
Yeah. Follow me.
You should come to our class on big thinking. It's good.
Yeah. I like girls.
You stupid.
Now you stupid. No, you stupid.
Smelly head.
Yeah, Xander's right to be worried. These titans of industry are falling apart at the seams very quickly here. Xander does the reasonable thing in 86's Buffy from the Bar.
Like it.
It's time to go home, Buffy.
Want more singing. Want more beer.
Oh, I've cut you off.
Did it hurt?
Out you go.
Oh, ow, oh. Want beer. Like beer. Beer, good.
Beer bad. Bad beer. What the hell am I saying? Buffy, go home and go to bed.
Yeah, Xander is extremely lucky here that Buffy went along with this, but Buffy does in fact comply and goes home. As soon as Buffy is out the door, the other four guys realize she's gone, but then they just kind of keep on drinking. And then they kind of change.
Hey, you all right in there? Buddy?
Yeah, never a good sign. They turn into cavemen. Cavemen guys freak out. They wake him back up. Xander scares them away using a lighter after they try to confront him again. And they end up kind of running all over town, wreaking havoc. I should also mention that while all of this is happening, Willow is having a little sit down with Parker, the guy, remember, that Buffy hooked up with earlier, and kind of confronts him and says, "You were being a jerk to Buffy. How dare you?" And is basically trying to defend her friend and try to get, Parker to realize that he did something wrong. There's a whole sequence in which Parker tries to hit on Willow, and it's really embarrassing when Willow sees right through it and says, "Actually, I'm not interested in you at all. How dare you do this?" Xander is scared the Neanderthals off and freaks out, runs into the back room to tell his boss, "Uh-oh, we're in deep trouble. These guys turned into cavemen."
Jack? We got a problem. The guys, they're... Some of your patrons are turning into cavemen.
They had it coming.
Yeah, that's right. Our boys got, I guess, poisoned by Jack, the owner of the bar. It turns out that Jack has a warlock brother-in-law who taught him how to turn the patrons into Neanderthals temporarily, into cavemen. It's only a temporary thing. It'll last about a day or so, but Jack has basically said, "I'm sick and tired of dealing with all these snooty college kids, and I wanted a little revenge." Strange way to get it, I would say. Meanwhile, the cavemen are running around, causing havoc all over town, and Xander and Giles head over to the dorm room where Buffy and Willow share a room, and they encounter this. A version of Buffy that perhaps they've never seen before. It's caveman Buffy, or cavewoman Buffy, I guess, in this case. And she's drawing all over the walls. So everyone has transformed, including our beloved Slayer. It is not looking great. Okay, so let's get back to Parker and Willow. They're having their little heart-to-heart. They're talking in the cafe. Willow is saying, "I can't believe you would try to hit on me when I'm trying to confront you about the horrible thing you did to my friend. Thanks anyway, but no thank you." And in the middle of all of this, as Parker tries to defend himself unsuccessfully, they suddenly get attacked by a group of cavemen.
See?
Again, not a good situation to be in. The cavemen set the cafe on fire with Willow and Parker and the other two ladies trapped in there with them. The cavemen don't understand how to put a fire out because they have regressed to being cavemen. They don't possess the power of fire the way that Xander's lighter does. And this is a situation that I think can only really be helped by someone like Buffy. If Buffy shows up, she can sense that there is something that she needs to do to help. She realizes she's needed, and so she shows up to this scene of the fire and does this cool acrobatic move. And in doing so, she enables everybody to climb out the window. She gets Willow and Parker out. She saves everybody's hides, essentially, here. So throughout this episode, Buffy has been pining for an apology or some kind of reconciliation with Parker. She's really been hurt by him. And she finally gets the chance to get that apology. She's been fantasizing about it. There have been sequences where she's kind of drifted off into dreamland about it. And she gets this apology that's very similar to the fantasy sequences that she was imagining earlier.
Buffy. Buffy, I don't know how to say this. I'm sorry for how I treated you before. It was wrong of me, and I'm sorry. You were great tonight, really. I may not deserve this, but do you think you could forgive me?
It's such a dumb ending, and I love it so very much. Oh my goodness. So this episode it's so funny because it's one of those truly inconsequential episodes, and it's kind of broadly considered to be one of the worst episodes of Buffy, if not the actual worst. I've heard that opinion from a number of people. I think it has an interesting perspective on like college binge drinking culture and, the campus pub whole situation. It's so much sillier than most of the rest of the show, if not maybe the whole rest of the show. But it still has that kind of Buffy creature feature kind of flavor with like a weird townie doing weird stuff and causing supernatural events to occur. And apparently the plot of this episode was written with the intention of trying to get funds from the Office of the National Drug Control Policy, because they were basically giving funds away to promote anti-drug messages in TV shows. The funding was rejected because, and I quote, the plot was otherworldly nonsense, very abstract, and not like real-life kids taking drugs. Let's hope not. Fun fact, Cal Penn, who you might recognize from like House MD, Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, is one of the guys that turns into a caveman in this episode. Okay, that about wraps this up. There are so many more great episodes of Buffy, filler ones and non-filler ones. I would love to hear down below in the comments about other episodes you loved that maybe you'd like to hear me talk about or maybe analyze a little bit. At any rate, thanks for watching. It would be great if you subscribe to the channel. There's also a link down below in the description to my Substack. I also write about all the stuff I make videos about, so if you wanted to go read more of my thoughts and kind of see what other fun, cool stuff I'm cooking up, feel free to subscribe over there. And feel free to like, comment, do all the usual YouTube stuff. Thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one. See ya.